I can't handle this any longer. I'm going to have you quit your job and go take care of my family. I have had enough of dealing with them, and I am not going to go back to their place ever again to help them.
What? What's gotten into you, Ron?
Don't act as though I haven't been feeling this way about them for the longest time now. I remember a long time ago that I told everyone that I wasn't going to be able to care for my parents on my own. Yet, even though you're my wife, you've done nothing to help me. And because of me having to be with them all the time, I have burned right through a lot of this year's earnings. I'm at my limits now. I have done my very best for my parents. So now it's your turn to do your part.
Wait a second though, Ron. That isn't the same as what we promised each other before. We said that we'd promised to take care of our own parents as they got older and needed our help, right?
Excuse me?
You were the one that wanted to make that promise in the first place, right? 5 years ago, when both my parents came down with something serious and needed us to care for them for a little while, you told me you wouldn't dare come over with me to help and told me no. You said that we should only have to take care of our own parents and no one else's. And you followed that by saying you're my husband and I should respect your choice.
Oh, well, that was...
And that's why for the longest time I've been caring for my parents all by myself. They live pretty far from here, so I have to run over to their place every day, taking away around 3 hours of my time. I remember when they first started asking for help, I had to be over at their place all night and only got around 2 hours of sleep between work and them. You are well aware that I took care of them all on my own. So this time it's going to have to be you that sacrifices a lot to have to be with your parents.
Shut up! Your parents never required nearly as much attention as my parents do. Compared to how much you had to put in taking care of your parents, my parents require at least 10 times the effort. So that's why right now I'm no longer going to follow that promise we made back then.
Huh?
Your parents passed away not too long ago, right? So adding that all up, you only really had to care for your parents for around a year or two. Your mother then passed away first, followed by your father after that. Well, my parents are not as easy as them. It will be around a lot longer and require way more attention from you. Right now, they are both suffering from early stages of dementia, but their health is still really good, so they'll be around for at least another 5 years. But I don't want to be the one that has to sacrifice all my time and money to be with them for that long.
I feel as though you can't compare whose parents are harder to take care of, Ron. We both agreed that we'd only have to take care of our own parents, so that's what we'll do. You cannot take back what you promised.
But my parents are like your parents as well now, right? After all, you are the one that married into my family, and that means you're going to have to care for my parents from now on until they can both kick the can.
Do you think I'm going to follow along with that selfish assumption of yours?
Shut up, Jill. You are my wife, and I will not take you talking back to me. I'm very serious about being done with all this caring for my parents crap, so I'm going to have you take over for me now. You are going to quit that job of yours and become a housewife. And then, in my place, you're going to start taking care of my parents when they need you.
Are you kidding me? You want me to quit my job just to be there to do your job? Not only are you forcing me to take care of them for you, but you want to take me away from my job as well?
You've seen it yourself already. It's impossible to work both a job and care for aging parents. And I can't have you slacking off from caring for our house as well. So you're going to become a housewife and do all the chores here before you go out and care for my parents. I'll be free to finally get back to work and start making more money for the both of us.
You do know that I love the hell out of the job I'm currently doing now, right? Yet you think it's fair to take that happiness away from me all because you're too selfish to help your own parents? At this point, just hire someone to go to your parents and care for them. There's all kinds of services out there now that you can hire to care for your parents in their home. And if you don't want to do that, there's no problem with putting them both into a retirement home.
What are you talking about? All those things are a huge waste of money. You really think I'd be willing to hand over some of my money for something my wife can just do as well? I'd rather you go ahead and just quit your job and then start doing all the chores for us, as well as watch over my parents for me.
Well, have you ever thought about quitting your own job to go care for your parents full time?
Are you a freaking idiot? I make way more money in a year than you do. There's no way I'd give up my income to rely on someone who's making pocket change like you. Anyway, what I've said to you today is an order from your husband. You are only going to focus on doing housework and caring for my parents from now on. Before you leave work today, tell your boss that you're quitting.
Hey, Lauren, it's been a while. Sorry to have to talk with you about this out of left field, but I have some things I'd like to ask about regarding your parents. The first thing I'd like to ask is if you'd be willing to work together with me when I begin taking care of your parents. Huh? You already know that that's not going to happen. I have a life and a job of my own that I'm busy with. And when it comes to taking care of my parents now, shouldn't that be something my brother is handling? Stop trying to ask his little sister to watch them when that's his responsibility. But right now it seems that Ron has had enough of that responsibility. And he's even at the point where he's asking me to quit my job and watch them full-time for him. He thinks that I should be the one to sacrifice my life to be their caregiver. So instead of him having to be pushed to his limits with them, and instead of me having to quit my job for them, how about all three of us take time out of our weeks to care for your parents and keep everyone from having to sacrifice anything? Wait. It's times like these where the wife should step in, right? You should be willing to sacrifice yourself so that both my brother and I don't have to work ourselves to death. Now, go ahead and do your best with my parents, Jill, and just leave the two of us out of it. What? And from what I've heard, you already have experience in caregiving from when you took care of your own parents, right? I think it's best that you take care of them for us, as I have no idea what I'd have to do to help them. Really? So even you're going to start acting as though I need to be the only one caring for your parents? Then can you at least chip in for all of us to get your parents some hired caregivers? At least then none of us would have to go over there to be with them all the time, and I wouldn't have to quit my job. We can hire someone to watch them during the week, so please help pay for that. What? Why the hell should I be helping pay for that? And right now, with the life I'm living, I don't have the money to hand over to hire some caregivers I don't know. I'm not going to be helping care for my parents, and I most definitely will not be paying for someone to. Are you kidding me? Stop trying to push your responsibilities on others now, Jill, and just do your job as Ron's wife and care for my parents. You are his wife after all, so stop coming to me with things that will only stress me out. Quit your job and take care of my parents. Now that's it from me, and I'm leaving both my mom and dad in your hands. Hey, Jill. I hear that you started to take money away from my parents, and I am not going to let that continue happening. All you do is sit around on your butt all day, so why should they pay you anything? Huh? Lauren, what the heck are you talking about? I don't think that I'm sitting around all day and am forcing your parents to pay me anything. Stop trying to hide what's going on over there from me. I already know everything about what's really happening with my parents and you. I know that you asked them to pay for you to care for them, and that they are currently paying you around $2,000 a month for that. I guess that someone might have said something to you about that. But that money that they pay me is something that your parents and I talked about thoroughly and has nothing to do with you. I was the one that had to quit my job in the first place to come care for them, right? So when both your parents heard about that, they came to me wanting to negotiate a price they'd pay me to work for them. But right now you're getting too much from them. Why do you get to make $2,000 a month doing practically nothing? I know that the two of them are healthy enough to care for themselves by the way they looked when I've come over the past few times recently. Neither one of them look as though they have any signs of dementia or any other sickness. So why are they having to pay you when they're both well enough to take care of themselves? Wait, have you actually been coming over here to see your parents recently? Both my brother and I are worried about our parents. And we wanted to know just how bad their dementia might have become in the past couple of months. But when I came over to see them just the other day, both my mom and dad looked like their normal selves. Do they really need you there caring for them? And why the hell do they have to be forced to pay you that much for nothing? I'm not going to let you get any more money from them when all you do is just sit around in the house doing absolutely nothing. You have it all wrong, Lauren. It's just that recently their symptoms haven't been as bad. But normally they have a hard time dealing with their dementia and need me to do all kinds of things for them. Huh? They've actually been getting a lot worse this past month and have only been looking okay this week. There are times where if I don't keep my eyes on them at all times, they'll leave the house and wander the neighborhood. And multiple times now they've forgotten who I am and will start to yell at me to leave their house and leave them alone. It's really not been as easy as you think these days. And it's not just one of them that's like that, but both of them. Stop trying to lie to me. I already told all of what I saw and heard about you to Ron. And when I told him about those things, he told me that he had no clue you were taking $2,000 a month from them. And because he didn't agree with you getting money from them, he's pissed. You've got to be kidding me. The whole reason that your parents and I never told him about how they started to pay me for my services is because he was the one that forced me to quit my job in the first place to take over his responsibilities. Not only have you had to do nothing for the past 2 months as a housewife, you've also been stealing $2,000 from my parents a month. As far as I'm concerned, you are nothing more than a parasite feeding off everyone around you. Did you just call me a parasite? I did. You've already been living off everything my brother is making for you, yet now we've learned that you've been taking money from my parents as well for doing nothing. All of that is a textbook parasite move. And because of all that, Ron doesn't need you as his wife anymore. I'm going to have you divorce my brother right now. What? Divorce Ron? If I'd known that they'd be able to give me $2,000 a month, I would have started caring for my parents the moment you asked me to. It would have been the perfect job for me. All I'd have to do is sit around the house with my parents all day and make $2,000 for that. And I'd be able to take whatever day I want off and be able to finally go to all those concerts I've been wanting to see. I think I'll be taking your spot now as their caregiver, and that means you'll need to go. You are being fired now as their caretaker, and I'll be getting that sweet $2,000 a month from them now. I'm really pleased to hear that you're finally willing to come and care for your parents for me. But why do you have to ask me to divorce your brother for that? Because you do nothing for this family and will be completely useless after I take your job caring for my parents. What? Are you sure you have all your facts straight to be asking something like that from me? I can tell you that after I take your job, you're going to want to get back out there to find another job again. But at your age, there aren't going to be any companies willing to pay you well enough for your efforts. In other words, there's no use for you anymore besides cleaning the toilet, and my brother can do that himself. So I think you leaving my brother would be the best thing for him. You're lying, right? You're now going to come and finally take care of your own parents only because you heard that I was being paid for it, and then think that because I will no longer be caring for them, I have no use in your family? What the hell is wrong with both you and your brother? I'm not in the mood to sit around all day listening to you complain about the truth. Hurry up and get the hell out of our lives, you parasite. I'm going to make sure that you're divorced from my brother after doing nothing for him or my parents. Thank you so much, then. Good luck caring for your parents. Huh? I'll make sure to get all those divorce papers signed and handed in for you. And I really do mean it when I say thank you for all of this. You have finally given me a fresh start to a brand new life. Wait a sec. What the heck? You're being told to divorce your husband right now, yet you're thanking me right now for that? Have you gone completely crazy or something? You should be telling me right now that you don't want a divorce and are willing to give me all your money to stop me from forcing you to leave my brother, right? No. Anyone in my shoes would be happy to hear this kind of thing from you and be thanking you. I mean, you're finally saving me from living in the hell that was caring for your parents. I've never been this happy before. Huh? It was hell caring for my parents? You really thought it was hell caring for two perfectly healthy adults? Well, I'm sure things will be a lot harder for you than you think, so good luck. When it comes to the symptoms of having dementia, they're some of the worst of any sickness, and you'll soon learn just how hard it is caring for two people that have it. You'll be asked over and over again for food, even though you just fed them, and at times they'll forget who you are or where they're at and start yelling at you because of it. There are even times they call the police because they don't recognize you, and you have to explain to the police that they are both suffering from dementia. Good luck, Lauren. You are going to have to do a lot of apologizing to all sorts of people because of them, but you'll get used to it. Huh? And just be aware that every day, including weekends, you'll have to be at their house bright and early to start caring for them, and won't be able to leave or sleep until around 10 p.m. every night. And don't forget that when you're not caring for your parents, you'll have to be doing chores around the house and preparing their next meals. You are going to have no days off and will only be making a mere $2,000 a month. To someone like me, that kind of money is pocket change. But to hear that you think that kind of money is worth it for all that work, it really warms my heart. Wait a second, Jill. Having to apologize for them and having the police called all the time? Do my parents really cause that kind of trouble for you all the time? They sure do. And compared to when your brother was looking after them, your parents' dementia has gotten way worse. That's why I was hoping to have him around to help me, but he told me that since I'm a housewife, I should be able to handle everything on my own. And after that, I never got any kind of help from him. And are you aware that I never asked to be a housewife in the first place, right? Which means that I was going through all this hard work with little merit. You're lying, right? I'm sorry for talking a bunch about myself and your parents again. I'm sure listening to me tell you about all this stuff won't teach you anything, and that you'll be better off experiencing everything firsthand. Now I'm going to get started on divorcing Ron, and you can get started on watching your parents.
Hey, Jill, what the heck is up with this divorce paperwork? When I got back home from work, there was a bunch of filled out paperwork for divorce on the living room table.
I heard about everything from Lauren. There's no need for me as your wife anymore since I'll no longer be caring for your parents, and I won't be able to make enough money with whatever job I find now, right? So I'm only doing as you guys have asked and am leaving you. Why are you acting all surprised over that?
A divorce? Are you an idiot or something? You should be apologizing to me right now for what you've done and handing me all that money that you've earned from your parents to me. And I was going to stay quiet about how useless you are and let you back into my house after all that.
So you both are only upset about what's happened because you wanted the money I made from your parents? But I'm sorry, Ron. That money was earned by me for caring for both your mom and dad. I have no plan to give you the money I've earned and will be divorcing you now.
I'm not screwing around right now. If you were to divorce me, then what'll happen to my parents?
I thought you already knew that your sister would be taking over for me. She said that she's going to be their caregiver now since she can earn $2,000 from them each month.
Well, then what about me? Who will care for me? Who's going to make my food for me every day and do the chores here?
I don't freaking know, you dunce. You should be able to do that sort of stuff yourself.
What?
I don't see you suffering from dementia right now, and you can still move around on your own without any help. So that means you can do all the chores and cooking yourself, right? You can't just expect to push all that work back onto me now that I'm no longer caring for your parents. Oh, wait, does this mean that you're the real parasite now since you can't seem to take care of yourself without your wife?
Huh?
When I'm gone, there's not going to be anyone around for you that'll be willing to care for you as though you're some kind of old man. So you're going to have to learn how to take care of yourself again as a single man. Because things will only become harder for you as you grow older and find it harder to remember things or walk on your own. Unless you start saving now for the future where you'll need to be put into a home or hire someone to come to the house and take care of you. I know that I'll have to do that now since I won't have a husband around to help me anymore. Although it's not like you were helping me in any way in the first place. Anyway, good luck to the both of us as we begin our new lives as single, middle-aged adults. I never thought it was going to be this tough taking care of two people with dementia, and only making $2,000 a month for all this work is not enough. And it's gotten to the point now where every day I'm spending close to 24 hours here watching over them and doing everything around their house. If you have the time to come to me with this sort of crap, then you have the time to ask your brother to come help you, right? He is your brother after all, so you both should be able to work together to deal with your aging parents. Even if he does come to help, he's so full of himself that he makes me do all the hard work while he sits around doing the simple stuff. Anytime I ask him to help with anything that isn't watching them sleep or dusting the shelves for the 500th time, he tells me that he can't be asked. Cleaning their bathroom is nasty and should be done by me. I don't know how to cook any meals. He's pretty much forcing me to do everything for them. Well, if that's too much for you, then hire someone to come care for them. Or you could put them into a retirement home. You both can split the cost for that, so it shouldn't be out of the question, right? But if I do that, then the $2,000 I make each month will go away. I do not want to lose the money that I'm making right now. What? So please, come help me, Jill. You were able to care for them all by yourself, right? You can be here to help teach my brother and I how to do the more difficult things when we ask, or even allow us to do the easy things while you handle the harder tasks. Everything is difficult when it comes to caring for those with dementia, Lauren. You're just going to have to learn to deal with it all. But I was thinking that this kind of work would be a piece of cake and I'd be making $2,000 to do nothing. I was supposed to be making $2,000 a month to sit here in this house with my parents while they took care of me. Weird to think that you'd be willing to do all that after calling me the parasite. Well, I'm sorry that all of this caregiving work is getting to you, but it's too late now to back out of it, so good freaking luck.
Please, I really need you to come and help. If things keep going like they have been, then both Lauren and I are going to drown. I have been working non-stop at my parents' house helping Lauren care for my parents now, and have had to take pretty much every day off work now to be here. It's to the point that my higher-ups are starting to question me, and are thinking of cutting my salary. And not just that, but want me to move to a different office outside of town, and that will put me almost 3 hours away from my parents' house.
That is such a nice company you work for. If I were them, I would have just fired you for calling off all the time and never being around anymore.
Why are you saying that with such happiness? I was finally getting back to my life of having a really good income again. I've worked for years now, putting all my time into my current position with all those raises I've earned. And now it's all going to vanish. At this point, the only things that are going to work for us all now is if you come back here and start caring for my parents again.
Really, Ron?
Recently, there hasn't been any break in the work Lauren and I have had to do, and we are both getting to our breaking points. I really want to go back to working my very best at the job I have before they choose to move me and cut my pay. So you have to come back here to help us or we'll be screwed. I mean, we ended up getting a divorce from one another, so things must be tough for you as well now, right? You ended up being a housewife in the end, and I'm betting that finding a job has been horrible for you now, right? So you should be happy to be able to come back to my side and be my housewife again, right?
I'm sorry, Ron, but I'm back working for the company you had me quit from. To tell you the truth, I never actually quit like you asked me to.
What?
I just told my boss that I'd be taking a couple of months off to care for family, and the moment we got a divorce, I was right back into work doing my job. And of course, I'm making the same salary that I was making before I took time off. Did you really think that I was going to let you boss me around and make me your housewife? No way, Ron.
Hey, what do you mean, Jill? I remember telling you to quit your job and come be my housewife, right?
Why would I ever listen to what you asked of me when it's that selfish of an order from you? To keep you from realizing that I really hadn't left my job, I told my boss about what you had said, and he told me that he'd allow the time off to take care of family because he was not okay with what you were doing. He even told me he'd let me have up to a year off to care for your parents while keeping my job if needed.
What?
But I didn't even need a whole year off because your little sister came in to save the day and take my job from me. My boss was so happy to hear that I was no longer being forced to care for your parents, and we celebrated that day. After the past few months, I've even been paid for my time off, and will have more than enough in my savings come the time that I am too old to work and care for myself. And to be honest, I don't ever plan on coming back to be your wife.
What? I'm the one that has to lose most of my salary soon and will be forced to move to another office. You get to walk away from all this without any consequences?
Well, if you didn't want any of this to happen, then maybe you should have kept your promise and cared for your parents. I had it hard enough having to care for both my parents on my own before they passed. And so now it's supposed to be your turn, but you forced your turn onto me and made me go through twice as much work. I think it's fair that you get to lose a portion of your salary and have to be moved to a farther away office after doing that to me. So quit all of this freaking complaining and go deal with your sister and parents.
But that's...
If you really want to keep the job that you have now before your higher-ups make their final decision, then you hire someone to watch your parents for you and shut the hell up. I'm tired of hearing you constantly complain about not wanting to do this or not wanting to do that, and only wanting a life where you get to think about yourself. You're a grown man now, Ron, and you need to start realizing that you have to be responsible for more than just yourself now. But if you're still going to continue to act like a selfish prick about all of this, then stop complaining to me at least and go complain to someone who actually gives a crap.
Jill?
They are your frickin' Parents, Ron! They sacrificed all sorts of things to raise you and put you where you are now, so go repay the favor and care for them in their last days. And if that's not going to be possible for you, then at least have the dignity to hire someone to do your job for you. I'm done with listening to you and your sister complain all day and night about your responsibilities. I'm just a stranger to you all now, so goodbye, Ron. After that, both Ron and Lauren talked more about what they were going to do with their parents and decided to have them both moved into a home. But after only a few days of being housed in that retirement home, both their parents caused more trouble than it was worth for the facility and were sent back home to be cared for by Ron and Lauren. Had they just sent them to the home when they were both less affected by dementia, then they would have probably gotten away with leaving their parents there. But since they waited too long and forced me to do their jobs, their parents were too far gone and couldn't be handled by anyone besides the two of them. To me, this is all well-deserved by them, though, and that makes me very happy to say. After getting their parents back from the home, Ron was no longer able to work long enough anymore, and was forced to work on the smaller office outside of town with a large pay decrease. And as for Lauren, she was no longer able to go to any of those concerts she was excited for, as caring for her parents wore her out too much and she lacked the energy to get out of the house.
Thank you for watching till the end. If you felt good about this video, like the video. If you didn't like it, let me know why in the comments. Subscribe too. Your likes and subs lead to our motivation. We have so many videos on our channel as well, so go ahead and take a look. See you in the next video.